And now, to close out the 2019 Pritzker Forum on Global Cities, please welcome the President of the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, Ivo Daalder.
So it's my pleasure to try to summarize the entire day, and yesterday, and the day before. And so you go to the ChicagoCouncil.org, click on live stream, and watch it all over again. Because this was a rich conversation, so I am not going to summarize it. Here's what I'm going to do. I was just thinking back 4 years ago when we did the first of our 5 forums. We had, in the opening discussion, a debate between 2 former secretaries of the Treasury, Bob Rubin and Hank Paulson, about whether cities actually had any role in the global economy. It was an intense, lively debate. We've had Hank Paulson back. We've not had Bob Rubin back, which tells you a little bit where that debate came out. But we had a debate. And at the end of that first forum, we had Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, a former Dutch foreign minister who was the mayor of The Hague, Ben Barber, who had written this remarkable book about when mayors rule the world. And we had a discussion, I wouldn't say a debate, but we had a discussion about should cities have a voice in international affairs? And some said yes, and some said maybe not. In fact, there was the former Secretary of Foreign Affairs and Defense, Malcolm Rifkin of the UK, was part of that discussion too. He's not been back either. And it was all about whether, or even why. And if we look back at the last 48 hours, we didn't have a discussion about whether cities should have a voice, whether cities have a role in the international economy or addressing issues of sustainability, of poverty, of security. It was all about how. So the premise that started the Chicago Forum on Global Cities and is now the Pritzker Forum on Global Cities, that the Council and the Financial Times started with, was that cities had a role to play, and understanding that role was important for all of us. And now we have arrived at a point where the conversation is about how do we do that? How do we make it more effective? What systems exist for mayors, for companies, for cultural and educational institutions, for individuals and communities to advance the goals of global order, of global good, of global sustainability, of greater equality, of dealing with greater security for all and safety for all. And so the good news is that we still need this conversation, so we're back next year. And that we, between now and then, will continue to have this conversation online and offline in cities around the world, here in Chicago and in other places. And I want all of you who have participated in this to continue to be part of that dialogue as we look to our next forum and we think about what other issues should we start thinking about where cities play a role. So that's how we see this. This is a journey that we started 4 years ago in Chicago. It's a journey that will continue in the months, weeks, months, and years ahead, with one clear thing that will always happen. In early June, we come to Chicago for the Financial Times and the Chicago Council on Global Affairs to spend 3 days as part of the Pritzker Forum on Global Cities. And I'm really grateful for all of you who have made this, yet again, I think, an extraordinarily successful conference. For the speakers and the participants who sat at the stage and asked the questions and were part of the discussions in the workshops and at the dinners and just outside over lunch. And I'm assuring you there is lunch, and we're going there really soon because it's lunchtime, or in fact, it's beyond lunchtime. But thank you for all of you for your participation. And then, of course, I want to thank our sponsors, importantly, AbbVie, the McCormick Foundation, UL, and the Pritzker Foundation for their lead sponsorship. And again, to the Pritzker Foundation for their extraordinarily generous gift, which has allowed us to name the forum after them. For our supporting sponsors, Grant Thornton, Kirkland & Ellis, and United Airlines, and our patron sponsors, Brinks, Hyatt's Foundation, and Uber, thank you all. Without that support, we wouldn't be here. Importantly, you wouldn't be here. So please join me in thanking them for what they continue to do for us. And then finally, a special thanks for all the technicians, all the AV and the video, the audio, the people who move chairs around seamlessly, and everything else that made the last 3 days here so extraordinary. And in particular, it has been said that it takes a council to put on an organization like this. And I am extraordinarily proud, as I am each year, to have a staff at the Chicago Council on Global Affairs that is always praised by everyone who is part of this organization as the best staff to get people to the places at time with the information that they need in order to succeed. It takes a year to put something like this on. There are people who spend an entire year on this full-time at the Chicago Council. And I just want to recognize and hope you join me in recognizing everyone for making this, yet again, such a great, successful year. So. And with that, I'd like to invite you to lunch. Indeed, we're serving you lunch. And wish you a pleasant further stay in Chicago. We guarantee nice weather at the Pritzker Forum. You've got it this year. Once again, enjoy the city, spend some time, and as the mayor would say, spend some money. Thank you very much.